Hey everyone, Will from the podcast here, and I've got a very special Buy Bar Pass video for you tonight. Our friends over at Jack Daniel's Distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee sent us this sample. Let's get into it. The Jack Daniel's special releases are ones I always look forward to. They've had some really heavy hitters in the last few years. Last year they had the Coy Hill High Proof that just showed just how flavorful and robust a high proof Tennessee whiskey can be, coming out of this top tier rick house on top of Barbecue Hill, and it's just fantastic. I loved that one. They had the barrel strength rye the year before. They've had the heritage barrel, and this is their 5th release this year. And they sent us a sample. It's just it's not a huge sample. It's a nice, I think, 200 milliliters here. Doesn't say. 200 milliliters here of the 2020 release, and this is a twice barreled American single malt. So this year it's a little bit different. They've done the rye, they've done the Tennessee whiskey, but this is a single malt, and their single malt kind of became a mash bill that people were introduced to this year with the triple mash release that they put out. That bonded, and then they had the triple mash, which was rye, American malt, and their Tennessee whiskey. So people started like, oh, these flavors are good. So I love that they're kind of showing this off to the public, this American single malt, in a different way. And it says from their release about it that it's an American single malt whiskey finished in Oloroso Sherry casks, and it is from a brand new grain bill. It's 100% malted barley. So true single malt, same distillery, and they first age it in brand new American white oak barrels as they would their Tennessee whiskey, and then they finish it in the finest Oloroso Sherry casks and bottle in the truest form straight from the cask, and a proof ranging from 106.1 to 107.8. So some kind of lower proof than we've seen on some of these special releases. But what's interesting to me also is that according to my sample that they sent, this is 105.7 proof. So unless someone mixed up what they wrote, this is a little bit lower proof than what's making it out to market. Maybe they had some specific ones they released as media samples that were a little bit lower proof, so that they were still in that 106.1 to 107.8 range. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. Not a cork prop. It's just a little plastic screw cap. I'm going to pour it up and see what I think and give you some thoughts and tell you whether or not you should buy, bar, or pass this year's special release from Jack Daniel's. Right on the nose, you can definitely get some of that sherry influence, but it doesn't smell like a single malt to me. It definitely has a lot of the characteristics, probably from their yeast, of the Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. So I'm interested to dive in. I'm going to keep nosing it for a minute and kind of get acclimated to it, and then I'll dive right in. You know, after nosing it a little bit, I am getting some of that single malt characteristic, and I like it. I think it smells really good. It smells well matured, and I'm looking forward to tasting it. Here we go. Oh, wow. Wow. A lot of peanut butter on that. So much peanut butter. So it reminds me of the Parker's Heritage single malt that came out, gosh, it was probably 2016, 2017. It was an overlooked Parker's Heritage single barrel release, and it was a single malt, and it was a sleeper for me. I loved it, and a lot of times you could still pick it up on the shelves for around retail because people weren't necessarily interested in picking up a limited edition American single malt. That is going to be a hill that they'll have to climb at Jack Daniel's, I feel like, trying to get over maybe a little bit of a stigma. They're known for their Tennessee whiskey. Their rye has been making a splash. It's a new grain bill, and they've already started incorporating it into the triple mash, but trying to put out a limited release. I have a feeling that this one may be a little bit easier than the Coy Hill, which people were getting 150 proof whiskey with, and this one, lower proof, finished in Oloroso Sherry, so very similar to a Scotch. Many Scotches are finished in sherry casks. I think it's going to be different. I think it is a little bit of a uphill climb for Jack Daniels to sell this one. Now, it's only about $70 at retail. It'll come in the beautiful kind of single barrel bottle that they put their special releases in. It's also the same bottle you see in a Jack Daniels single barrel or cask strength single barrel release. So it's kind of that decanter look. It's beautiful. For $70 and this flavor, I think I'm a buy on it. And I think it may be a release that you could find relatively easily compared to others. Obviously, it's still going to be a challenge because it's a limited release product. But I think that it being an American single malt are going to scare some people away. They're like, nah, I don't know if that's what I want. That's not what I'm looking for. But it's a really well-crafted whiskey. I can't wait to let it sit around for a little bit. I'll hang out with it tonight some and see what I think. But really good flavor. The sherry is a light finish. It's not intense. Enough of the sweetness from the sherry that I would like. That adds a little bit of complexity to it, but also just a rich, creamy peanut butter palate that, like I said, it reminds me of that Parker's Heritage release from a few years back, but with something a little bit different added to it with that sherry cask finish and obviously the yeast strain and all the things that come from Jack Daniels, a little bit different than what they're making at Heaven Hill. So for me, $70, if I see it, I'm going to buy one of these. I think it's a good buy. And like I said, it may be one that you can hunt down that even if it is a little bit elevated in price, it may not be like Coy Hill that was $500, $600, $700 for some of those releases people were trying to flip them for. So happy hunting this season. Good job, Jack Daniels. I really like it. I wore my Jack Daniels field tester hat because I feel like this is official duty. I have this hat, so this is official duty field testing this. But thank you for sending it, Jack Daniels. No strings attached. Just wanted us to try it. They're good people over there. If you're ever in Tennessee, go check them out. But other than that, support the podcast at patreon.com/thepodcast. Or if you're interested in learning about our single barrel program that Greeze and I do with our friends Bob and James from BS and Bourbon, check out oakandthieves.com. Simple club. Make a great Christmas present to sign someone up. You can even prepay, I think, for the whole year. Could be wrong on that, but it'd be a nice thing to give someone. They are part of the club. They have camaraderie, they have friendship, and they have access to exclusive single barrels picked by Will, Greeze, Bob, and James. Fantastic whiskey. Check that out, oakandthieves.com. Other than that, we don't know Jack, but we'll drink it.